Hello, I'm Fatima, a student at the Department of English Language and Literature at the University of Bahrain. Welcome to our Advanced Grammar series. Before starting our lesson, please check out my friend Zahra's video about present tense and then come back here. Our lesson today is past tense. First of all, let's look at the different past tense forms. We have the past simple, which is the base form of the verb plus ed or irregular form of the verb like go. The past tense of it is went. We have the past continuous, which is was or were plus the verb plus ing. We also have the past perfect simple, and the form of it is had plus past participle. And finally, we have the past perfect continuous, and the form of it is had plus been plus present participle. Now, having known the forms, let's discuss when to use each one, and in order to understand that, there would be demonstrative examples. We will begin learning 7 uses of past simple. Number 1. Incompleted actions or finished events. For example, Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet. Number 2. For past states. For example, she seemed merry when I saw her. Number 3. We use the past simple when we have 2 or more past actions in sequence, usually in a narrative. For example, Dad drove up the sidewalk and ran over a bike and some toys. Number 4. We use the past simple to talk about habits in the past or to make a stronger contrast with the present, and we use used to. For example, we used to live in New York when I was a kid. In case we wanted to use the negative, we say didn't used to or used not to be more formal. For example, she used not to live as poorly as she does now. However, if we wanted to talk about a typical activity performed at a certain period in the past, we use would. For example, every Saturday I would go on a long bike ride. And finally, we use the past simple to describe past activities as a series of separate actions. For example, I arrived at the hotel, checked in, and went straight for dinner. Now, let's move to the past continuous uses. Number 1. Describe actions in progress at a specific time in the past. For example, last night at 6 p.m. I was eating dinner. Number 2. We use the past continuous with verbs like wonder and hope to make our request more polite. For example, I was wondering if you could walk the dog for me this evening. Number 3. We use the past continuous to describe a past activity as if it was a continuous action. For example, they were eating dinner, discussing their plans, and having a good time. Note that it is different from the past simple that describes a past activity as a series of separate actions. Number 4. We use the past continuous to describe an event that was in progress when another event happened. And this usually happens with when and while clauses. For example, while he was working, he often listened to music. Number 5. When we have an activity that would be interrupted by another. For example, you were studying when she called. Now it's time to learn about the past perfect simple uses. And number 1, to describe an event or action at an earlier time than another past event. For example, after she had moved out, I found her notes. So first she moved out and then I found her notes. Number 2, for earlier events, after clauses with reporting or thinking verbs in the past. An example on reporting or thinking verbs is believed or said. And in our example, he told me that he had been to Spain. Number 3, we use the past perfect to describe the result of an action before a past event. For example, I had exercised in the hot weather, so I took a shower when I got back home. So, I took a shower is the result of exercising in the hot weather before. Now, we have reached to our last past tense form, which is the past perfect continuous. And there is two major cases in which we can use it. Number 1, for events in progress before another event in the past. For example, Martha had been walking 3 miles a day before she broke her leg. Note that we cannot use state verbs in this tense or in this form. Number 2, to describe an action as a process going on before a past event. For example, I had been exercising in the hot weather, that's why I was sweating a lot when he saw me. So, exercising happened first and then he saw me. And that is the end of our lesson. Thank you for listening. Just a quick disclaimer that all the examples used are from the internet. Thank you again. Bye.